Hello, everyone. We're about to begin. How are you all doing tonight? I hope everything is going well. Let's see who's joined us so far. Andre, welcome. Felicia, welcome. Good evening. Gibbon and Denise. Good to see you all joining us. All right, so let me first see if I can bring up my the link to our handout. So if you guys want to access our handout, you can do so. So all right, so if you will follow the link that I've just placed in the chat, I'm going to pin this link. All right. Follow this link and you'll be able to download the handout for the lecture. All right, so I think we should have enough time there for everybody who wanted to download the link to be able to do so. So let us quickly go to the lecture. All right, so today's lecture is entitled The 7 Keys to Getting and Staying Well. The 7 Keys to Getting and Staying Well. Buckridge. Hi, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let us begin. Now, if you want my information, it's listed right here on the chat, or not the chat, but on the screen. So you can do that. All right, so can make a note of it. If you want to reach us, reach our office for any reason, you can always do so here. This is what the handout looks like, although this version of the handout has some blanks to be filled in. So the one that you're downloading actually has the blanks already filled in. So that makes life a little bit easier for you. And if you, those who are technologically savvy and you want to actually just scan the QR code to download the handout, you can scan the QR code here. I just leave it up for a second, and then since you're able to rewind and pause the video, I'm going to just encourage you, if you want to scan it, just pause the video and then scan the QR code. So the first key is understanding the difference between sick care and healthcare. Sick care and healthcare. It's really just a definition of terms, because persons will need to be able to. Is that the sunset? Wow. Magnificent sunset. Yeah, I'm at the office, guys, and I'm just trying to look through this window here. I'm going to take a quick second and just look at this sunset, so please excuse me. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, so what I did, I just pulled back my window blind so I could actually see the setting sun. It's so beautiful. In fact, the sun has already gone down, but the reflection on the clouds, it's giving kind of a very orange against the gray clouds above it. Color. It's almost like a painter, just some master painter took his brush and just highlighted certain colors. What a magnificent world in which we live, if we would just take time to appreciate it. All right. So just definition of terms, sick care versus healthcare, because I want for you to be able to understand what I mean when I say certain things, because I will use these terms. When we talk about sick care, we're talking about the branch of the system that caters primarily to the sick patient or the sick person. This branch of the system is what we otherwise would have called the healthcare system. But here, I want to make a distinction between what they do and what persons who are actually focused on restoration and maintenance of optimal health will focus on. It's two different things. So I try to explain to persons that I'm not meaning anything negative or controversial. There shouldn't be anything controversial about what I'm saying, because this is what they say themselves, and that the primary focus of the healthcare system is twofold. One is to ease suffering, and the other is to save lives. So ease suffering and save lives. That's the focus of the healthcare system as we know it. And because that's the focus of the system, they end up doing things that you see them do. And sometimes you may wonder, why would you give somebody a medication to treat one condition when you know it will cause 3 or 4 other conditions? And the understanding of the focus of the system is really what's at the heart of it, because they're not really focused on optimizing your wellness, your state of wellness, or your health. They want to, first of all, ease suffering. So if there's a condition that you have that's causing you distress, And by giving you a medication, they know that it can ease your distress, even though it may cause something else to go wrong. Then they would have done their job because they have eased your distress. So that's kind of what that is about, right? So if you want true healthcare focuses on making persons as healthy as possible and maintaining them in this state of vitality, if you will. So that's really just how we differentiate between the healthcare system, the true healthcare system, and sick care or illness care. So we need to understand that the system as it is today, the sick care system is a reactive system because somebody has to be sick or have a problem before the system kicks into high gear. Now, a true healthcare system, or if you want to have the chance of optimizing your health, then you can't simply wait for something to go wrong first, because if you do so, you may end up with something that has gone wrong that cannot be fixed, or something that goes wrong that may end up taking your life, or something that goes wrong that will result in permanent disabilities. And so, if those things happen, then you are left without the chance of recovery. And so, if somebody is desirous of optimizing their health, they can't simply wait for something to go wrong. They have to put into action a strategy that prevents and predates the thing that is going to go wrong. So we say sick care is reactive because something has to go wrong first, but true healthcare is proactive because we try to intervene before something has gone wrong. The problem is that with the current healthcare crisis that we have more and more persons spending monies on their health that they do not have. Many people end up in a state of personal bankruptcy because of healthcare costs. And that is a crisis. And the reason that's happening is because of the focus. The focus of healthcare is on drugs and surgeries. And drugs and surgeries are not inexpensive. But the problem with drugs and surgeries is that, especially the drugs part, most drugs do not fix the problem that exists. Most drugs kind of is a stopgap approach to addressing the situation without necessarily fixing the problem. And usually they operate at the surface level, which is the symptom level. If you operate on the symptom level, then that's problematic, because most problems that people face that will cause them to go into the hospital are not problems that are brought about by things that require drugs or surgeries. They're brought about by things that are as a result of poor lifestyle choices. So it is unreasonable to expect that you can solve a lifestyle problem with drugs and surgeries. The only way to solve a lifestyle problem is with a change in your lifestyle. If you want to solve any problem, you have to match the solution to the problem at hand. You can't fit a round peg into a square hole. Well, technically you can if the round peg is small enough, but you get the drift, as we learned in kindergarten. So we can't fit a round peg in a square hole or a square peg in a triangular hole. We have to match the right problem with the right solution, which, by the way, in case you didn't know, was a whole reason behind that lesson when you were in kindergarten or grade 1 or basic school, where you are given different pegs and different shaped holes. You need to fit the right peg to the right hole is basically teaching you to find the solution to the problem that fits the problem. So you have to find what the problem is and then match the solution to that very problem. So if I never taught you anything and you just learned this for the first time, then you can say, I have taught you something. C'est la vie, so be it. All right, let me check something. Let me do something here real quickly because I want to make myself a little bit bigger on the screen. All right. So just to make myself a little bit bigger. All right, so let's continue. Now, here's a challenge that we face, right? If we want to change somebody's mindset or change their behavior, the best and most effective way to allow somebody's behavior to be changed is by first changing the way they view the world. If you want to change somebody's behavior, you have to change their mindset. And so I'm going to try to see if we can change our behaviors here today. But to do so, I have to adjust how you think. So let's look at that. If there are two modes of thinking, one that's taught to us by the illness care model and the other one that's taught to us by the wellness care model, then we have to figure out which is preferred and then try to match the correct or the preferred one to the one that we desire. So if something is happening to us and we say, you know what, I have a headache. Many of us would go to the doctor and say, Doc, do you have anything that I can take for the headache? Why do they ask that question? They ask that question because what they simply want is to feel better. So they want to take something that eases the pain so that they can feel better. And sometimes they ask this question because they don't know that something can be done to eliminate their need for anything in the future for headaches, because you can actually improve or remove the cause of the headache. And so if you knew that there is a cause to the headache, then rather than asking for just feeling better, you probably want to ask what you can do to get better. And the reality is this, that there are things that can be done to remove the cause of the headache and thereby restoring you to your original state of health, to get you better rather than to get you to just simply feel better. Another one is getting well, and they treat the whole issue of wellness as if it is some kind of a destination to arrive at. So we say, you know what, I want to get well soon. You know, and we have these cards that we give each other in hospitals, get well soon, hoping that they will attain a state of good health without doing anything really, just kind of a wish that you hope that by some miracle or by some stroke of the imagination, they will be in a state of wellness. Well, the problem with that is that one, we can be more intentional about restoring our health than that by simply just wishing for it to be so. And two, it is far better to have a focus on the course of correction and not just the end stage to the correction. In other words, if we can find a way to restore our health by focusing on the journey toward restoration of health and not simply the destination to good health. And so getting well, it can't be the overall goal when we could probably even find a way to stay well. And that is important. Staying well is important to restoring our good state of health. Another one is staying alive. And if we can find a way to stay alive or to maintain ourselves in as good a state of health as possible, we have a good chance of restoring our good health. And that is something that's important for us to do. So staying alive is not the most important thing that we need to do to maintain our state of health. We want to not just simply stay alive, but we want to find a way how we can feel alive. Because if we can feel alive, then our quality of life is that much better. And then we can maintain ourselves, hopefully, in that good state of well-being. So feeling alive is important. Now, the way that we look at the whole process again, I'm going to share with you the three bands that we use to restore good health. One is feeling better, getting well, and staying alive. Feel, get, stay, which is much better than get, stay, feel. These are the ways that we restore and maintain good health. Feel, get, stay becomes get, stay, feel. The second key is the truth about pain. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? I'll give you all a second to just answer this question. I'm going to move ahead very quickly, but you can pause the video so that you can answer the question and then return to the video, right? So, is pain a good thing or a bad thing? Please answer the question here. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? Whether it's good or bad, I think we can all agree that there is a purpose to pain. There is some reason behind us having pain. And what's the purpose to pain? Is that pain alerts us that something has changed in our system and needs our attention. That's what the purpose of pain is for. What we need to be able to do is to find out what the real problem is to pain. And the problem to pain is that you can't simply trust pain to tell you when something is wrong, because it's not all the time that you will feel something has gone wrong to let you know that something is wrong. So you can't trust pain. Pain cannot be trusted. Good health does not mean that you're feeling good. Good health means that your function is good. And so we want to be able to maintain our function. Good health is equal to healthy function. So we need to be able to trust the way our bodies feel and not just, the way it works and not just how it feels. Trust our function, not our feeling. And so when you look at the different systems of the body, these are the different systems of the body. And other systems of the body, we have the immune system, digestive, cardiovascular, integumentary. The integumentary system is a system that is responsible for all the coverings of our body. So our skin, the coverings of our organs, our fascia, the covering of the muscles, these are all part of our integumentary system, our covering system, our system that's responsible for the outer protection or the outer layer of the different organs of the body. We have our respiratory, endocrine, reproductive system, excretory, musculoskeletal, immune, nervous system. These are the different systems, right? So when we look at these systems of the body, it's important for us to recognize something. They all talk to each other. All these systems communicate with each other. And it is a bad idea to think that you can simply just go ahead and to look at the one system in isolation of the other and treat them as you would a specialist. You see, the problem with specialists is that when you have a specialist, you have somebody who has a lot of knowledge about a very narrow area. And so it seems on the surface that it makes sense that if you have a problem with your heart, you go to a heart specialist. If you have a problem with your lungs, you go to a lung specialist. If you have a problem with your ear, nose, or throat, you go to an ear, nose, or throat specialist. So the problem with that is this. The different systems of the body all have to communicate to each other. So if you have the systems of the body and they're not communicating with each other, then it is possible that you can have a system doing something and the other systems are not aware or responding appropriately. And so it causes breakdown in the whole body. Every system has to communicate with the others, and so we want to make sure that we're maintaining proper function and coordination with all the different systems of the body. The one system of the body that is responsible for all the other systems and the communication between them is the nervous system. And I'm going to try to see if I can show you how that works. So when you look at the nervous system, you see all the organs are on the left-hand side here. All the organs are on the left-hand side here. And the spine is right here, descending from the brain. And then you have a connection from the spine to the different organs of the body. These connections are called the nerves, and these nerves control the functions of all the organs, and it's under the direct control of the brain. It is the brain that speaks to the organs and tell the organs what to do in the different situations. So if you are brain dead, your brain is not able to maintain the functions of the body. That's the clinical definition of death, is when your brain dies. Your heart can stop beating, but you're not clinically dead. Because even though your heart has stopped beating, there is a way to put you on a machine, and that machine can cause your blood to circulate and thereby maintaining your health or maintaining your life. So this is important to note. All right? So the different systems of the body are here. The organs are connected by way of these nerves to the spine and ultimately up to the brain. These are the different systems of the body. And the master control system of the body is the nervous system. That's the system that governs and regulates all the functions of all the different organs, especially as they interact with each other. And so it's important for us to recognize this, because if we understand that the systems of the body have to coordinate, communicate with each other, then it starts to make sense to us, some of the choices that we need to make to maintain good health. Now, vertebral subluxations or misalignments of the spine is what causes the nervous system to break down. As we look here, we see that there are 5 bones of the spine where this middle bone is displaced backwards. Because of that displacement, it has closed off the opening where the nerves exit, resulting in a pinched nerve because of the opening of the nerves that exit there. And then you have a bulging disc or slip disc in between the cartilage, in between the bones of the spine, resulting in this breakdown that we see. There are 3 types of stressors that exist: physical, biochemical, and psychological, and they have to coordinate with each other for the optimal function of the body. Now, the 5th key is understanding what we call the general adaptive potential. The general adaptive potential. Now, I'm going to use what is called a GAP, using the acronyms of general adaptive potential, to explain how it is that stress impacts our health. So if we're using a gap and a gap has a lower limit, then for there to be a gap, there must also be, by necessity, an upper limit, whereby the space between the 2 limits is your gap that we're talking about. The higher up the upper limit goes, is the wider our gap gets. The wider our gap gets, is the healthier we are. We are approaching vitality. But if our upper limit starts to come down and our gap starts to narrow, we then start to approach death. So that once our upper limit is matched to the lower limit, it's down here, there's no more gap. That's when we no longer are able to adapt to our environment, and that's where we are considered to be dead. Now, this is how stress impacts our gap. External stressors or environmental stress can push down on our upper limit and reduce our ability to cope. If our upper limit, as a result of this external stressor, is lowered, it will cause the gap to become narrower and our health potential to decline. Next thing is our internal resistance is the only resistance that we have to oppose the forces of stress that break us down. And so if we are sleeping well and we're recovered fully, we have a better way of coping with the external stresses that we encounter. Our life experiences will exist on a continuum that we hope will demonstrate our next point. Because if our life experiences are within the boundaries of our gap, then we do not break down, we do not get sick. But if for any reason our upper limit falls, then areas where we once were no longer vulnerable, we become vulnerable. And that's when we break down and get sick. All right, so continuing. How does chiropractic work? The healthier your nervous system is, the wider your gap will be. Chiropractic improves our nervous system function and results in a widened gap. The wider our gap, the healthier we are. The closer we are to optimal health and vitality. So I hope this makes sense, right? Now, subluxations are as a result of the system that the stresses that we are exposed to breaking down our bodies and causing us to falter. When we falter, that's when our bodies break down, and that's what we call a subluxation, is when our bodies, or in particular our spines, are no longer able to continue to cope. That's when we break down. That's when we get sick. So this is what identifying the subluxations are about. We have technology at our office that allows us to be able to measure when areas have started to go awry in our bodies. Continuing, therefore, the technology has two paddles that measure the spinal function. One is a rolling thermal scan, which measures the temperature of the skin of the spine, which gives us an idea of how the nerves that control blood vessels, organs, and glands are doing. Those are your autonomic nerves. Those are the ones I showed you earlier with the diagram about nerves controlling our organs. The other one will be our surface EMG paddles, which demonstrate for us the ways that we can measure muscle tone in the spine. So these paddles measure the electrical activity coming from the muscles of the spine. Now, as far as chiropractic is concerned, a doctor of chiropractic, what we do is we try to influence the nervous system by way of addressing spinal issues. These spinal issues hold on. These spinal issues we expect should impact the health of the nervous system. And so if it's impacting the health of the nervous system, then by necessity, there must be a way of measuring changes that it will make to brain function. So my question is there a way of knowing if chiropractic care actually impacts brain function? And the answer is yes. And so this is what we're about. So we look at the information here, and what we see is that there is an adjustment that needs to be done. And before the adjustment was done, the lady was asked to do a task. The task was simple: wiggle your left ankle. And if they were able to successfully wiggle their left ankle, then you will see areas of activity on the brain that correspond to the wiggling of the left ankle. And here she is now, or here it is, that after the adjustment, she was asked to wiggle her left ankle again, and this time, this is what we saw. In the first example, we had lights everywhere in the brain. In the second example, we only had lights in the area of the brain that correspond to the motor strip. This is the area of the brain that's responsible for movements. So wiggling your left ankle should affect the part of the brain for movement. And not only that, the left ankle is controlled by the right side of the brain, and this side over here is the right side of the brain. This side over here is the left side of the brain. All right, so continuing, shall we? We see the areas of activity before and after the adjustment, and what we can conclude from this is that simply the adjustment allowed the brain to be more efficient because it required less areas of activity in order to work. Chiropractors, therefore, are not bone doctors. Chiropractors are nervous system doctors. Chiropractors are not bone doctors. Chiropractors are nervous system doctors. And I have a question from Dennis. And yes, Marie, whenever you do reach this portion of the presentation, you can always just rewind to the beginning and watch from the beginning. But as far as Dennis is concerned, as a chiropractor, what kind of mattress do I recommend for optimal spinal alignment? For memory foam, latex, hybrid, whatever. So here's my way of answering that. Different people have different needs. And I try my best not to put my name to a product. But I will say this, that as far as mattresses are concerned, you want to find the one that's most comfortable for you. How do you know the one that's most comfortable? The one that when you sleep in it and you wake up the next morning, you feel refreshed, you feel renewed, you have no pain, and everything is doing well. That is the kind of mattress that you need to be focused on getting. There are some people who, for whatever reason, because of how their bodies are built, they prefer a memory foam, whilst others prefer a box spring, while others prefer a mattress on top of a hard surface like a plyboard or what have you. But whatever it is, we need to make sure that we are comfortable at the end of the night and we are waking up refreshed. Whatever the mattress is that allows that to happen, that's the mattress to use. Do not use a mattress that makes you feel worse in the morning than you do did when you were going to bed. So I hope that helps. Continuing the work, what about chiropractic neurology? A chiropractic neurologist has specialized training to address certain types of conditions. So in the case of a chiropractor, chiropractors will realign the spine, whereas chiropractic neurologists will retrain the brain itself. That's what we do. And so with my specialty as a chiropractic neurologist, we do exercises and therapies to try to rehabilitate brain function. These are all examples of conditions that we have treated in our office, but I try not to think of the way we treat as treating conditions, but there are persons who come to us for different issues, and these are some of the issues that we have seen come to us. Our vision at Gardner Chiropractic and Neurology Limited is to identify subluxations wherever and whenever they occur. This is our vision. Identify subluxations wherever and whenever they occur, to provide a program of chiropractic care for the individual that is tailored to their specific need, and to educate our community on how to live healthier, happier lives, free of disease, so that they can subluxate less. Now, the last key is taking responsibility for your health and well-being. Whose responsibility is it for your health and well-being? And this is the last key. The key to success in getting and staying well is for you to take responsibility for your own health and well-being. That is the key. To take responsibility for your own health and well-being. Because you are the one that's ultimately responsible. You have to be careful what you put into your mouth. You have to be careful how much rest you're getting. You have to be careful of what you're doing to stress yourself out. You are responsible for your own health and well-being. Now, continuing further, the health and well-being for your family is also your responsibility if you are the chief decision maker for your family. Sometimes we belong to what we call the gap generation, which is the generation of children now who both are taking care of their parents who are aging and their own children that are still minors. Sorry. These are the people that you are responsible for, and so obviously your decisions will impact their health. So if you make a poor decision for your child, which I've seen parents do that often, they have a belief about something. Their belief is incorrect, but they don't know that it's incorrect, and they make a decision for the health of their child that they only find out that their belief was incorrect after their child has suffered harm. Please don't let this happen to you. Seek information before you seek to make a decision. Try to inform yourselves as much as possible, and inform yourself with what we call using what's it called? The appeal to authority fallacy, where your source of information is based on what somebody in authority has told you. The reason I say be careful of that is because people in authority are sometimes wrong. Just because they are an expert in an area doesn't mean that they know everything in that area, and so what they say goes. We live in a world now in which we can fact check information against the internet. Because what's interesting about the internet is this. There's a lot of information on there and a lot of way of knowing what is right and what is not right. So use patient testimonials. Use doctor clinical experiences and what they have found in their own experience as a clinician. Because sometimes a doctor is in their office, the research says one thing, but what they find on the ground is completely different. So if you're going to make a decision, you're not going to have to weigh what the doctor has found on the ground with their own patients in their own offices versus what they may have been taught in school or what they may have come to believe to be true from some paper that they read. They don't always mash up, what's the word? They don't always, well, match each other. Match each other. Oh, moving again, we have a video testimonial page on our in our WhatsApp channel, in our Facebook channel rather. Not Facebook or WhatsApp, in our YouTube channel. We have a video testimonial page. And I have many testimonials on there. I've actually had to stop putting testimonials up because I've realized that when I put testimonials up, we are oversubscribed with clients, and so people end up getting vexed with me because they can't get an appointment for 2-3 months, right? It's not my desire that that's the case, but until we can do better, that's the situation. So our video testimonial page, please review those. You'll find some interesting ones. The one with Joy is my favorite. So having completed our presentation today, there are a couple of things I want you to be aware of. One is we have a very special offer for anyone who would like to take advantage of the offer to become or to get a new patient examination done from us. If you are not a current patient of ours and you would like to not necessarily make the appointment tonight, but you'd like to get an appointment for an examination. Now, the examination doesn't make you my patient, and it does not make me your doctor. What the examination does, it allows me to know if I can treat you, yes or no, and if we have a solution for your issue. If we do have a solution for your issue, then great, we'll go ahead and try to implement or share with you what's needed to implement our strategy to fix the problem that we found. If we do not have a solution for your issue, then it is my responsibility to share with you that it is unlikely that my intervention will help based on what I know, so that you have a decision to make as to how to proceed, right? But sometimes I have to flat out reject certain cases because I already know beforehand that it's unlikely that I'll be able to help them. And so I have to be honest with the individuals as far as that's concerned. And Tyra, welcome to our show. Thank you for joining us. You can actually rewind to the beginning of our show. I'm going to leave it up so you can rewind to the beginning so you can watch the whole thing through. All right, but thank you for joining us. Now, if you want to become a patient, not become a patient, but if you want an examination to be done and you've watched this presentation, then all you have to do is just to shoot an email to our team at appointments@gcnjamaica.com. That's appointments@gcnjamaica.com. When you send the email there, just indicate to them that you've watched the lecture and you'd like to make an appointment and receive your discount. And that's as simple as it is, and then your discount is applied. If you are already an existing patient of mine, then actually I have more things for you. So these are the things that you will get for just for paying attention, just for watching the lecture, and just send a message to us via appointments that you have actually watched the lecture and you want to let them know so that you can get your discounts or what have you. So our existing patients will receive automatically for watching a 20% discount off your new patient exam. And that's why it's important that you put your name in the chat so that we can know that you indeed watched the lecture. So a 20% discount off your update examination. You will also receive a 20% discount off one treatment per person that you refer to the office. So if, for example, you have a family member, you refer them to the office, you will get a 20% discount for that referral. But if it is, let's say, when I say family, I mean immediate family, where it is parent, child, sibling, where the bill is being paid by the same persons, then we offer you a not only the 20% discount off a treatment, but you will also get a discount, a family discount for the person that was referred on top of it. So that is important. So the first person will pay full fee. The second person will get, I think it's a 5% discount. The third person will get a 10% discount. Fourth person will get a 15% discount. Fifth person will get a 20% discount. So if you have multiple children in a family, for example, the discounts accumulate. So that's how we do it. And then you will also receive a 10% discount off the next phase of care. If you've not yet gotten to that phase of care, you'll get a 10% discount for the next phase of care. So, and a phase of care is 12 sessions. So those 12 sessions will make it easier, hopefully, for you to be able to afford care. And we do this to try to help out situations where persons have a need. So here we are at the end of our presentation, the 7 keys to getting and staying well. If you want to reach us, you can find us online. And let me share with you how you can find us online. You can find us at gcnjamaica.com. That's our website, gcnjamaica.com. Or on facebook.com, you can find us at facebook.com/GCN Or you can find us on YouTube by just typing in Gardner Chiropractic in the search bar. And it will bring up our channel, and you can subscribe to our channel because we've now started to bring up our Back to Health talk show, which is our radio program on RGR. We've started to present it also on YouTube for ease of access for those who do not have a Facebook account. All right, so it was indeed my pleasure being able to spend the time with you guys here this evening. I hope that you learned something. I hope that it was a meaningful time spent. And if you have any questions that you would like for me to answer, I'll stick on for about a minute or two and just answer any questions that you may have at this time. So thank you so much for joining us. It was indeed my pleasure. No. Oh, have I ever turned patients away because I'm overqualified to treat their problem? No. If I can help the person, I will accept their case. Or if I believe that I can help them, I will accept their case. The only cases I refuse are cases where I don't believe that I can help them, or if I am certain or have reasonable belief that the person is not being sincere and that nothing really is wrong with them, but they want to, because there are people in the world that do different things, and they want to just get some payout for some nefarious reason. But generally speaking, if I can help them or if I believe I can help them, I will accept their case. It's better to be overqualified, in my opinion. That means I can help them quicker. I hope. That's what it means. All right, everyone. Then there be no further questions. Have a wonderful night, you all. And it was fun being able to spend this time with you. Would I recommend to my patient that they do epidural steroid injection? I have made a recommendation for someone to get an epidural steroid injection in the past. But I would only make such a recommendation if all other means of addressing their situation has failed and they're suffering excruciating pain or distress and nothing that we have tried has helped. And that's the only time I would make such a recommendation. Now, this is a sequence that I make those recommendations, the sequence of my recommendation making. If I can help them, that's the first order that I do. What we can do non-surgically and non-medicinally. Then if non-surgical and non-medicinal can't work and other types of manual therapies can't work, then I'll recommend a surgical approach to address the problem next. If surgeries can't address the problem, meaning that you can't fix the problem with surgeries, then the last resort is an epidural steroid injection. I do not recommend an epidural steroid injection before I recommend surgery, because invariably what happens is they take the injection. If the injection works and the pain goes away, then they assume that it means that the problem has been solved, and then they go and do more work, more exercising, more bending, more lifting, and worsen the situation. And then by the time they now are ready to do surgery because they realize that the injections no longer work, they're in a far worse situation and the surgery is less likely to fix the problem. So I do not recommend steroid injections before I recommend surgeries. So if I don't think I can help, I'm writing a referral to speak to a neurosurgeon. Of course, it depends as well. Each case has its own merit, so it depends on the case. But generally speaking, I would try to seek the help of a neurosurgeon before I would recommend that somebody takes steroid injections. Hey, Andre, well, if you get your discount next week, you'll get your discount for the update examination. Since you've already started care, your update examination, um, as far as a continuation of care is concerned, you'll also get a discount. If you ever refer anyone to the office for care, you get that discount. But you won't get the discount for, yeah, the upcoming exam. But you won't get a discount for the new patient exam, which would have already gone. Thank you, Denise, for your kind words, and I'm happy that you understand. It was indeed my pleasure getting to spend this time with you guys. I wish you all the best and take great care of yourselves. And I hope that you will have a wonderful time following care. All the best to you. Take good care.